If you're a software engineer, you are probably feeling it right now. There is a massive AI-driven transformation happening in our industry, and I'm not talking about some far-off future prediction. I mean, this is happening today, and it's forcing all of us to ask a pretty serious question.
And look, this question is causing some very real anxiety, even for the most seasoned developers out there. This isn't just fear-mongering. The leaps we've seen in AI agents recently, well, they're changing the entire game.
So here's the thing, you have to understand. What we're seeing isn't just some temporary market dip. No, this is a permanent seismic shift. Because of AI, the core act of sitting down and writing code line by line, it's quickly becoming a commodity. And there's one specific new technique that's really at the heart of this whole revolution.
People are calling it the Ralph technique, and honestly, if you want to understand where our industry is headed, this is the thing you need to get. It's a really disciplined, structured approach that lets an AI build complex software and do it reliably without a human constantly looking over its shoulder. So what is it exactly? Well, at its core, the Ralph technique is basically an autonomous Auto-TDD loop. TDD stands for test-driven development. So you can think of it like a super disciplined developer who's given one single task and is absolutely forbidden from even thinking about the next task until they can prove with a passing test that the first one is done perfectly. Let's break down this loop because its simplicity is what makes it so powerful. First, the AI builds one specific feature. Step 2, it immediately turns around and verifies its own work by writing and running a test for that feature. And third, and this is the absolute key, it hits a gate. It cannot move on. If the test fails, it goes back, it fixes the code, it tries again and again until that test passes. This is what prevents the AI from just generating tons of messy spaghetti code.
Okay, but how does it keep track of a huge project without getting confused? Well, it uses this brilliantly simple brain that's just made of two files. You've got the prd.md file, which is the source of truth. That's the master plan, the list of features, and it never changes. Then you have progress.txt, and that's the live log. It's just a simple text file where the AI jots down what it's already built and what's been tested. This way, it always knows exactly where it is.
All right, so that's the theory. Sounds cool. But does this actually work in the real world? Oh yeah, absolutely. This technique is the engine behind something called agent swarms, and people are already using them to build massive, massive projects at a scale that is kind of hard to wrap your head around.
For example, check this out. The team at the AI code editor Cursor just dropped a mind-blowing case study. They built a fully functional web browser. They called it Fast Render, completely from scratch. And they didn't do it with a team of people. They did it by unleashing hundreds of these AI agents, all working together in parallel. And the scale we're talking about here is just staggering. To build this browser, the AI agents spit out over 3 million lines of Rust code, and that resulted in 26,000 individual code commits. That number right there, 26,000, that's the key. Because this slide right here perfectly illustrates the insane speed we're talking about. To get to those 26,000 commits, the AI swarm building Fast Render took just 14 days. Now, for comparison, a world-class team of humans building VS Code, it took them 26 months to hit that same number. We're talking 2 weeks versus over 2 years. It's just incredible. So this is the new reality. These AI agent swarms can act like a distributed team of hundreds of developers. They work 24/7, they never get tired, there are no human bottlenecks, no coordination overhead, and best of all, no meetings. And here's the real kicker, the cost. The approximate cost to run this massive, round-the-clock development engine? About $10.24 an hour. That's it. That's less than what you'd pay a fast food worker. And that forces every single one of us in this industry to face a really direct and uncomfortable question. If your only value is writing lines of code, how in the world are you supposed to compete with a tireless, hyper-efficient team that costs $10 an hour? Well, the short answer is you don't. You can't compete on that level. The ground has completely shifted under our feet, and you know what? The industry leaders are already adapting. Big companies like Microsoft are fundamentally changing the type of engineer they're looking to hire. In fact, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella has been super clear about his vision here. He says the company is actively moving away from what he calls specialized silos. You know, that old model where a developer just grabs a ticket, writes a very narrow piece of code, and then passes it on.
Yeah, that model is quickly becoming obsolete. So what's replacing it? This idea of the full stack builder. This is the new ideal. We're talking about a single engineer who doesn't just write code, but who owns the entire product lifecycle, from the initial design and the big product decisions all the way through the front end and back end work, basically orchestrating AI agents to do all the heavy lifting. Which brings this whole conversation right back to you, especially if you're a senior developer. That traditional ticket taker model of just coding what you're told, it's dying. You are standing at a major fork in the road right now, and the path you decide to take next is absolutely critical for your career. And here are the two paths, laid out plain and simple. On one hand, there's the risk. The risk is that a junior developer who gets really good at this agent orchestration, who learns how to plan these loops and direct AI, can now massively outproduce a senior dev who refuses to adapt. But on the other hand, the opportunity is huge. You can use your years of experience to direct these agents and effectively become a solo product owner, shipping entire complex systems all by yourself. And here's the most important takeaway. All those years of experience you have, they haven't become worthless. In fact, they might be more valuable than ever. It's just that your true value isn't your deep knowledge of Python syntax anymore. It's your ability to think in systems. It's your big picture architectural vision. The AI can handle the syntax. It needs you to handle the thinking. You see, this is a complete paradigm shift, the old way of working in 2-week sprints. The old agile, it's dead. The future is what we might call the continuous agentic loop, where AI agents are constantly building, testing, and deploying, all under human direction. Which leaves us with one final provocative question that you have to ask yourself. This isn't about fighting against AI anymore. It's about leveraging it. The choice you have to make isn't just about learning a new tool, it's about completely redefining your role. So, will you be the one directing the AI, or will you be the one who gets replaced by it?